Yeah, no skits or intro this time. I'm just gonna get straight to the point. I'm gonna try and keep this one under 5 minutes. And, yeah. Anyways, so overthinking things is probably the thing that I struggled with the most for God knows how long, right? I would be out with like a group of friends, you know, I would get invited to literally hang out with like, let me tell you guys a story actually. So a couple of months ago, I was invited to a party basically, right? I went to this party and I got drunk at the party. I don't drink, I'm against drinking myself, you know, you can do it if you want. Personally not my goals, but I got drunk. And when you're kind of drunk or high, you don't really think, right? So there's not really any chance for you to overthink. And so what happened was that while I was at this party, I was just like free from my mind, nothing on my mind, I was just chill as hell. And I ended up like picking up like fucking like 20 girls' numbers at that party, right? I was going hard. Anyways, so some time passes by and I got invited to like have lunch with all these people, right? And at the party, they kind of knew me as this guy who was like super fucking like active, you know, he was super fucking chill, right? I was like talking to everyone. I was like super energetic, super extrovert and everything, right? And they knew me as this basically a player, right? And like just like being awesome, I guess, which I am. Don't get me wrong. Anyways, I get invited to basically hang out with like a very similar friend group with a lot of people from the same one, and we're gonna go have some food. I think it was having dinner together. This has happened a few times, this exact same story. And so I get there, and I'm just like fucking 20 miles in my head the whole time. I had a date that I went to this hangout with, right? And the date just kept asking me like, hey, are you okay? You know, what's going on? Are you alright? Right? Because I was like, obviously, I was like a little fucking nerd, right? And I was sitting there like, am I looking weird? Am I standing weird? Am I mewing? I kid you fucking not, bro. Like, half my thoughts were like, is my tongue in the right position? You know, I was like, and I was fucking like, I was like worried about my micro placements of my tongue and shit. And yeah, bro, I was like, I was so deep in my fucking head, right? And this happened every time I was hanging out with some friends or I was hanging out with anyone, right? I was just like 20 miles in my fucking head, and I just could not enjoy the experience. And dude, and I was like, whenever I would like see a cute girl nearby, I would just think like, oh no, like, you know, do I look good? Am I wearing the right things? I didn't put on fucking deodorant today. Always wear your deodorant. You're disgusting if you don't. Yeah. And point is like, I was just like, I wasn't present. I was fucking miserable and making myself miserable because I kept thinking of myself and I kept thinking of me and like, am I doing the right things? Am I fucking like, is everything going right? You know, like, and then this even fucked over one of my relationships, right? Because I just like, whenever I was with this girl, I just kept thinking, oh, does she still like me? Oh, like I was like, I was a kid at the time, right? I was pretty young. This was like 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. And I just kept thinking, like, oh, you know, maybe she doesn't like me anymore, right? And well, she mentioned this other friend, and maybe she's talking to him, and maybe that's a guy, and maybe she's gonna cheat on me, bro. And it was just like, I just was always overthinking, dog. And it was miserable, right? I was making myself miserable because I kept thinking about this. And then, dude, when I got into business and everything, it was like constantly like, am I doing the right things? Oh, is this business model gonna work? Oh, am I just like, oh, am I doing the right outreach, right? Am I talking to the right people? Is this guy gonna help me get ahead? And dude, I was overthinking it so much, right? And I think that we as humans, we tend to overthink this shit all of the time, and we tend to overthink every single part of our lives. And so, what was the solution? What changed things for me? What was it that made me go from being like this motherfucker over here who's like constantly in his head and constantly just making himself miserable because of how much he's overthinking shit and like, oh, am I gonna get the right test results right, and just constantly overthinking shit to like what I like to think I am right now, which is just like I don't care. If it happens, it happens, right? And I could make this like a way longer video, and I probably should make this a way longer video, but if you guys need help, just join the tribe and I'll talk to you there. But here's what I did. Here is exactly what I did. So I just realized, like, what do I want to care about, right? What is it in my life that I actually care about? And when I have this, like, what is it that I actually, I dug really fucking far. I just kept thinking, like, okay, I care about this, but do I care about this, or is this just something that's been told to me to care about? And, I just kept asking that question. Is this just something that I've been told to care about, or is this something that I genuinely, as a person, in my being, love, care about, and cherish, right? And when I kind of started asking those questions, I realized I don't really care about a lot of things. And you realize that deep inside, a lot of the time, you're going to have things that you feel like you care about, but you only care about them because there's a lack of something else, right? So, to give you an example, say that you're in a social scenario and you really, really are overthinking, like, oh, maybe this person's not going to talk to me. Oh, maybe I just was what I said just really weird, right? The other person is thinking the exact same thing. And I know that you've heard that before, but it's true. The other person isn't thinking about you. And so, do you care what they think, right? Like, genuinely speaking, why do you care? And it's reinforcement, right? Here's the thing with all these videos. I was just cussing. Here's the thing with all these videos. Everything that you see online, it's not going to be something that's instantly changing. It's something that you need to constantly remind yourself of. Ryan Holiday has a quote at the end of his book, Ego is Enemy. You have to constantly sweep the floor of ego. And in a way, overthinking things, caring what other people think, caring about the result of things, that is having ego. That is arrogance to a degree. Why is that arrogance? It's because when you think that you have an influence over something more than what you have an influence over, and like the result of a test, or like what your girlfriend is, she's gonna cheat on you or not, you got no fucking, like, you have no influence on that, bro. Let me just tell you that now. If she cheats, she cheats, and, dump her. She wasn't worth it. Same to the girls watching this. Not that many, but some of you. Anyways, and so it's ego, because you think that you have control over something bigger than yourself. And the solution is really to just ask yourself, why do I care about this? What about this is important to me? And on top of that, just kind of look at things objectively and say, does this matter? Is this going to change my life? And am I trying my best? And your best, even if you're not trying your best, you just got to think, well, I tried. And instead of thinking like, I tried, but I didn't try hard enough, you can think, alright, I didn't try hard enough, and that's alright. And so it comes down to three things. Accepting the past, and accepting things around you, accepting what you cannot change, and having the strength to change what you can. Ego, which is just the thought that you can change something outside of yourself, and really just caring too much about a lot of things. And how then, so the first two, they're really like, how do you implement that? It's just reminding yourself, right? You just have to constantly think, okay, why do I care about this, right? Is this something that is going to influence me? You just have to constantly sweep the floor, right? Just keep sweeping the floor, keep saying like, alright, this is ego, alright, I'm trying my best. I'm doing what I can. And if I'm not trying my best, let me do the same thing. Let me try the next time. And accepting it. Right. Accepting, learning to do that is just sweeping the floor again. Again and again and again. And so what's the third thing? Stop caring. How the fuck do you stop caring, right? It's not that easy. It is not that fucking easy. And this comes down to just having your priorities straight. And I want you to sit down and think about, like, meditate. And this is also sweeping the floor constantly. It's just like, what is your goal? What is important to you? Where do you want to be? And what outside of this has a strong effect? And on top of this, ask yourself, how do you view failure? Because that's a very, very big part of this. Failure is the catalyst for what you fear. And it's really the core of this, right? It's fearing failure. And how do you view failure? Ask yourself that. Is it something bad to you? Is it something horrible to you? Or is it just another part of life? Acceptance, right? And it all comes together. It all ties together. And so the more that you accept things, the more that you have your priorities straight, the more that everything is aligned, it flows. Your life flows. You are going to flow with your life. You turn into a river. You turn into just a koi fish flowing down the river. And you become at peace with your surroundings because you have begun to accept them. And once you're at peace with your surroundings and you have a goal in mind, you have something, you can judge everything around you, your actions towards that goal. Instead of saying, was that weird? And you're judging things by saying, was that weird? You're judging things by other standards. You're saying, was that the type of thing that, is that who I want to be? Right? You have a set of aligned goals. And the acceptance, when you go past this, when you make a mistake, helps you to say, that was okay. Right? That was fine. And just kind of move on. But I don't want you to think that it's easy, man. It's not easy, right? It's not easy at all. And that's alright, because nothing worthwhile is easy, and something like not overthinking is a fucking superpower, right? Most of the world overthinks. Most of the world is in their head 24/7, man, and most of the world is focused on themselves. And it's that ego. And once you don't do this, once you're not focused on yourself, you realize that you start to flow through life. And you start to kind of really give yourself to life, because now, instead of being like fucking harassed by everything around you, and like it's all like fucking barraging you, right? And it's like, it's painful. It really is fucking painful because you feel miserable from it. If you don't have all of this, you're free. It's freedom. And once you're free, you can just be yourself, and you can accept that, like here's the thing, you gotta be yourself. Because, what kind of person do you want to be? Okay, that's yourself. That's the person you want to be. But again, to that metric, do you care about that? Do you give a shit about that? If you do, fuck yeah, man. Go for it. And I want to see you become that person. So that's why I make these videos. And yeah, man, if you have any questions, join the tribe. I will be happy to talk to anybody in there. And at me, at _AZ. And yeah, if you're not in the tribe, join up, please. I'll be happy there. And I think I said that I'm dead these days. Anyways, thanks for watching this. Talk to you later.